Encounter with the Sheepsquatch, a true story from the Appalachian wilds. Growing up in the remote stretches of West Virginia, strange stories were a part of everyday life. My family owned a modest cabin deep in Boone County, a place hemmed in by thick woods and endless rolling hills. As a kid, I used to love exploring the forests, listening to the old-timers tell tales about monsters lurking just beyond the tree line. But there was one story my grandfather told that always stood out, the legend of the Sheepsquatch. According to him, it was a creature larger than any bear, covered in dirty, matted white fur, with the horns of a ram and a face twisted into something almost human. He spoke of a beast that roamed the hollers and ridges, a creature that most folks laughed off until they saw it themselves. I never thought much of it until the spring of 1994. I was 19 then, just old enough to think I was invincible. A few friends and I had decided to camp out at a clearing not far from the cabin. The clearing was surrounded on all sides by thick forests and was well known among locals for being strange. Some said they'd seen lights in the woods there. Others swore they heard screaming when no one was around. It was a cold night for late April, the kind where the mist hangs heavy between the trees. We built a big fire, cooked some food, and passed the time telling scary stories. Around midnight, the fire started to die down, and with it, the lively conversation faded. That's when we heard it, a low, guttural growl from the edge of the tree line. At first, we thought it was just a bear. Bears were common enough. We grabbed our flashlights and shone them into the trees, but the beams caught nothing but shifting mist. The growling grew louder, closer. Then we heard the unmistakable sound of heavy four-legged steps crunching over the underbrush. Suddenly, one of my friends, Kenny, pointed toward the woods and whispered, "There!" I turned just in time to catch a glimpse of it. An enormous creature, low to the ground but massive, with thick, white, filthy fur that hung in clumps. It moved with an unnatural gait, almost like it was wounded, or simply not meant to exist. In the weak light, I could see the curve of two thick, yellowed horns on either side of its head. And then it roared. Not a normal animal roar. This was deep, rattling, almost painful to hear, like it came from somewhere far beyond the creature itself. Our instincts took over. We grabbed what little we could and bolted for the truck we had parked about a quarter-mile down a dirt trail. As we ran, the Sheepsquatch charged after us. I could hear the thunder of its steps, the snapping of branches as it barreled through the trees. At one point, I dared to glance back. It was closer than I thought, maybe 20 yards behind us, and its glowing eyes were locked onto me, full of something I still can't explain. Hunger, maybe. Rage. We reached the truck, and Kenny fumbled the keys so badly he dropped them. We all screamed at him, urging him to hurry. By some miracle, he managed to get the door open, and we piled in just as the creature burst from the woods, skidding to a stop at the edge of the clearing where we had parked. Its breath steamed in the cold night air. It was taller than I realized, standing on its hind legs for just a moment, easily 8 or 9 feet tall. Then, with a sound like a furious grunt, it dropped to all fours and retreated into the darkness. We didn't speak for a long time as we sped away. Even now, all these years later, none of us really talk about that night, but none of us go back to that clearing either. Since then, I've heard other stories. Ranchers finding livestock torn apart, campers waking up to find huge claw marks scored into the sides of their vehicles. Most folks outside Boone County still say it's just a legend, some made-up monster meant to scare kids and tourists. But I know what I saw, and the Sheepsquatch is real.